Good morning to the leader in you. This is Catherine, your host. We are back for another edition of Good Morning to the Leader in You. As we are inching towards the closure of this year and thrusting into 2022, I want to talk a little bit, just for a few moments this morning, about being able to take a retreat unto yourself, to think, to process, to re-strategize. This is the perfect time to do it. To take a moment in time, whether that be a couple of days, you're going away for the weekend, whatever it is. But as business owners, we have to retreat. There has to be times where we pause from what we're doing and we reflect, we strategize where there are challenged areas that's not creating, what we want to see, what we want to manifest. Maybe we're not seeing our goals achieved. Maybe we're not seeing things manifesting the way we desire. Sometimes if things are constantly trending in that direction, you have to pause and you have to assess. So today I want to talk about the significance of pausing and assessing your business, pausing and assessing your organization if you have a nonprofit, pausing and assessing where you are personally with your own personal development, right? We have to constantly be in a state of growing, constantly in a state of evolving, constantly in a state of maturing into the leaders that we are called to be, right? So when we talk about maturity, it's not just about an age. It's about how are we developing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, holistically. How are we maturing in our leadership capacity? Because a lot of times if we're not feeding our mind, we will stunt our growth. If we're not feeding our mind, if we're not pouring things into our mindset that can help us in the areas that we might be weak in, we're going to constantly be deficient in those areas. So this is what I would say to you as we get ready to wind down this year. We have 6 weeks or so left. Pick a book up that you want to enrich your knowledge base in the industry that you're building your leadership capacity in. So pick a book, digest that book, pick it apart, and extract the areas in that book that can help you to grow in 2022. I'm personally going to pick a book. Next week when I do my podcast, I'll share with everyone what book I chose, but I am going to pick a book. I'm encouraging you to pick a book. This is a time that we have to grow. This is a time we have to, rise above where we are, right? We cannot stay in the same condition that we are from one year and the next. We have to grow. We have to evolve. We have to move forward. Anybody that is a leader, you will get disgruntled with yourself if you don't see forward movement, not only just with you, but whoever you're leading, whatever organization or business you're developing, whoever's in your circle. You want to see everyone grow to another level. You don't want to just be the only one growing to another level and then everyone else that you're connected to is still in the same place. So I say to you, pause and assess. Pause and assess where you are. Pause and assess the development of your leadership capacity. Pause and assess where your team members are. Yeah, your team members, people that you're collaborating with. Assess the team. Sometimes you might have a need to do a retreat with your core team and everyone come together and say, what's worked this year, what has not worked this year, and find out what new strategy needs to be put into place so you don't be in this same place next year. Sometimes as we're growing, sometimes as we're building, if we just constantly are going a mile a minute and never pausing to assess, the unfortunate thing that will happen is burnout. Anyone been there? I'm sure some people have been in a state of burnout, right? And when you get to a state of burnout, you're not effective. You're not an effective leader if you're burnt out. You're not effective to anyone. You're not effective to yourself, right? So you have to shut down sometimes. There was a season in my life where, I'm just working and working. I had to create a new habit for myself that I begin to shut down at a certain point of the day in terms of turning off the computer and, just winding down, whatever that may look like for you. But you have to have a turn off switch so you can re-energize for the next day and be at your optimum capacity. Sometimes we're not serving at our optimal capacity as a leader, and people can see that. If you think people can't see it, no, people can see if you're not operating in your optimal capacity. People can see if you're just floating on fumes. Just like a car, we drive a car so long to the point the gas is getting low, to the point sometimes people don't pay attention to that orange line that is getting low saying you need to get gas. And some of these modern cars, it'll start flashing on you saying you got 43 miles to go, 30 miles to go. Then it goes 0 if you ain't got no miles left to go. And sometimes we don't have that thing flashing off in our eyes and in our face to say, you know what, you need to refuel. So what you have to do is create something in your space that's going to give you reminders to refuel yourself again. You know, sometimes we're just constantly moving about, and our gas meter in our personal life is on 43, is on 30, is on 15, and close to 0. And sometimes we don't have that person to remind you, you know what, you need to refuel again. But I am that reminder to you this morning. You need to refuel again. You need to pause and assess, and you need to refuel again. Refuel again for success. Refuel again to be able to hit your goals. Refuel again so you can be an effective leader. Sometimes we're not refueling because we don't even have anything, we don't have any indicators around us to remind us to refuel. Well, I am your indicator today, saying refuel again. Don't get down so low to the point you're just running on fumes. Because see, when you're running on fumes, you start to make decisions in error or reckless decisions or unhealthy decisions because you're not at your optimal capacity. A car is not going to function at its optimal capacity when it's 0 gas in the car. At some point, it's going to do what? It's going to turn off, shut down. It's just not going to move no more. You got a little bit of time when it's on the fumes, but eventually the car is going to stop. And so it is with us. If we don't refuel again, our body is going to stop functioning at the capacity in which it should be functioning. I want you to think about that today, and I want you to take a journal, whether it's a physical book or you write in your phone. What areas in your life do you need to refuel again? And this is about being balanced holistically as a leader, right? You know, I know if your business is doing well, but your personal side is deficient, that means it's imbalanced somewhere. So I want you to think about how you can balance out your life in every area of your life, right? So that way, as you walk into 2022, you are an effective leader. You're not running on fumes. You're not just barely making it. You're not just barely waking up the next morning. You should be excited to wake up the next morning. If you're not excited to wake up the next morning, then we have to look at, is your life purpose driven? Because if your life is purpose driven, that means every day you're waking up. That means you're doing something intentional that's connected to your purpose that should excite you every day. If waking up in the morning does not excite you, then you have to ask yourself, are you living your life in purpose and on purpose? Are you in pursuit of your destiny? Sometimes that's why we don't want to get out of the bed the next day. Sometimes that's why we are disgruntled throughout the day, because we don't feel that we're living our life in purpose. We feel that we're just existing. We're just existing. And if we're just existing, that is why we struggle throughout the course of the day. And then at the end of the day, you're like, whew, I made it through the day. You come home, or maybe some of you are working from home, so you may shut down the computer and you're like, okay, I only got a couple more hours to relax. Then I have to start the next day all over again. Like it's a dagger in your heart. It's so gruesome, right? If you identify with that, you got to check your purpose. Are you walking in purpose? And if you say, yes, I'm walking in purpose, then is something off kilter? Are you not fully walking in your purpose? Or are you walking in someone else's purpose? Sometimes people will tell us what our purpose is, and we'll listen to that, and we won't really tap into the authentic side of who we are, and we're replicating or building someone else's purpose. And it's not even what we truly are even passionate about. Are you building your purpose, or are you building someone else's purpose? What are you passionate about? What can you wake up in the morning and you just be completely excited about? What is your purpose? It's time to refuel again. It's time to pause. It's time to assess your situation. It's time to get back up, go into that boxing ring of your life, and go for another round. You haven't gone all 12 rounds yet. It's not time to give up. It's not time to quit. It's not time to give up. It's not time to quit. Is it time to pause and maybe assess your situation? Yeah. Is it time to refuel again? Yeah. But it's not time to quit. You haven't made it to the 12th round yet. You got some more rounds in you. This is Good Morning to the Leader in You, where we motivate, we encourage, we inspire, we provoke you to your next level. Listen, this is just a quick moment of inspiration this morning for any of you that are building a business and you need help around strategic planning and organizational development. Send me an email, ct@katherinetrotter.com. My website is www.katherinetrotter.com. I myself am taking some time to pause and assess, strategize, and build for 2022. And like you know, I always say, I'm going to see you at the top. Why do I say that? I want you to visualize yourself growing and getting higher above every situation that you're in your life. So when I say see you at the top, I mean that. I'm speaking that into your life. So I'm going to see you at the top, and I'm going to be back next week with another podcast just before the holidays. And again, if anybody needs assistance, send me an email, ct@katherinetrotter.com. See you at the top.